Good morning, or should I say good afternoon? It was still morning. It's almost noon. Um, this is John of Little House, Big City, and why am I showing the inside of a dishwasher, what looks like sitting on a porch? Well, yesterday I ended up replacing my dishwasher. Let me go back. I bought this thing used for 75 bucks at Second Use, which is an architectural salvage place down about 5 minutes from my house, maybe 10 by car. And I picked it up along with my refrigerator in 2017. Well, at the time, this dishwasher was 12, 13 years old. The built date was 2005, and it's now 2020. So, yeah, you're looking at about a 15-year-old dishwasher. And this dishwasher, that down there where the lower arm is and the stuff below it, is called the sump housing. It's the pump and the drain for the dishwasher. It's basically the guts of the dishwasher. That riser thing in the back is what sends water up to the upper arm that's just below the upper rack, and the impeller, which is at the very top of the dishwasher. This dishwasher, being a KitchenAid and being an American-made dishwasher, has elements of what you will typically find with U.S.-made dishwashers. That black thing around the dishwasher, which I'll show you a little bit closer up in a few, is the cowl rod heating element for the dry cycle, and also I believe heats the water that comes in as well. This particular dishwasher and many older U.S. dishwashers has what's called a food disposer, and those are supposed to be relatively maintenance free. It doesn't mean they're maintenance free literally, but you should not have to clean them out once a month, or as little as once a month. You might have to periodically get in there and take it apart and clean it out when it's got debris in it. Basically what happens is when you break a glass, that shard of glass has to go somewhere, and it'll end up down there, and it will impede the water flow, because the sump, when it plugs up, it will reduce the water pressure going to the upper rack, which is some of my problems with this dishwasher. That pump has an impeller unit, and that impeller, or also called a food chopper, is basically a screen with 2 to 4 blades on it, and that little impeller is supposed to self-clean itself. It has never done it, and I've had to replace it, and it still doesn't do it. Coupled that with the simple fact that this whole dispenser unit, the jet dry side, has never worked. It's always leaked. So that's some of why you see the discoloration on the door. I haven't been able to figure out how to get that clean. The new dishwasher, I'll show you in a bit, doesn't have that. So, long story short, it's old, and we decided, because I could replace the impeller unit, which in and of itself minimum is 170 to 180 bucks. You might get them for a little less if you swap parts, but we're still dealing with a 13-year-old dishwasher with 13-year-old racks. And the upper rack has already got a couple of problems where the wheels on the left side, the plastic unit that holds them is broken. So they kind of flop over. So once it's back in the rack, it's fine. So just that alone, coupled with all the other age-related parts, it was time to just get another dishwasher. And I got lucky. The second use, which is an architectural salvage house, had a 5-year-old dishwasher exactly like this one, the same model, same everything, same color even, and it was $275 bucks. And when you look at the fact that I could replace the whole sump unit for almost as much, it made sense to just buy a whole new dishwasher with a lot newer parts. As I'll show here in a minute, this one, the plastic is already starting to show signs of some problems. This is the lower wash arm. It's very similar to what KitchenAid has used in their designs for a long time, except it's a little different now. The other problem is, because of having to take this thing apart so many times, this normally screws in to that. It no longer does. As you notice, I was able to lift this right up. So the problem we're running into is, to get to the impeller, you have to take this screw out, remove this to get to the one that's underneath it, and this one, and this estechon, which was where the other screw went, is broken. I broke it the other day in frustration trying to get the impeller back in. Ultimately, and as you can probably see, that's chewed from having to pull this up. You gotta tear all this out just to get to the shield that's over the disposer chopper unit, and that's tracked. And there's a screw on that you have to take out. So ultimately, it was an involved process just to clean it out once a month, at minimum. So, in the previous video where I was showing my sink, you saw me looking at the bowl and making sure that things were clean. That was when I was starting to show signs of problems with it again after having cleaned this out the month before. KitchenAid introduced their first dishwashers, the KD10 and KD20 models, as a built-in and portable units in 1949, and from the very beginning to the early 60s, utilized a 2-arm wash arm made out of cast iron, as seen here in a top-loading portable from the 1950s. In the 1960s, they switched to a 4-arm aluminum design, much like what you see here in the 1977 brochure and the actual dishwasher itself. This design was in use until a redesign in recent years, as seen here in my dishwasher. This is the new dishwasher. As you probably won't notice, but there's a couple of extra items that have been added to the dishwasher that were probably purchased separately and then put in. One is that little gray basket in the corner of the front of the dishwasher, the lower rack. It's for utensils, whatever, to go in. And that and the fact that the upper rack has been redesigned. Otherwise, it's identical. Even the display is similar, but not quite the same. But as I'll show you in a minute when I close the door, this is literally a carbon copy of what I just replaced, except it's from 2015 instead of 2005. And there we are, nice clean dishwasher. If you're wondering what jet dry is all for, it allows water to bead off of the dishes, and especially helps things like plastics so that they come out of the dishwasher actually dry instead of kind of sorta. So it really does make a big difference. Anyway, that's the clean dishwasher. And as you can see, I didn't really do a whole lot of cleaning, or just kind of shaking things out and put them in. Anyway, it's been a week. It's worked out really well, and I will get to this emptied. Glad we went ahead and paid the $275 for it, and ultimately it was a sound purchase. And yes, I grew up with dishwasher, so I know their benefits, but I also lived with one without one for about 20 years, so I know where I feel about dishwashers. They're handy and they're great, because if you're spending 30 to 45 minutes washing everything every night, a dishwasher will bring that down to about 15-20 minutes easily, even when you have to wash a few things. Anyhow, yes, my sink is full of dirties, but it's mostly just hand washables and a couple of things that need to go in, but I couldn't last night because of the fact the dishwasher was full. As I was saying, when you have a jet dry system in your dishwasher, it helps to plastics to dry, because it allows water to bead up and off. For a long time, this used to fill up with water in the old dishwasher. Now it's coming out very dry. There's not a drop of water in there. So you know the jet dry is working really well with this system. Stuff is coming out a lot drier. Unfortunately, the old dishwasher, I think I was having problems with it not drying as well as it did when it was a little newer. In part because things seem to come out a little wetter. Now, a little bit of an exception, you will still see it a little bit right here. It's just water that pools up in the lip of some of the plastic containers. But other than that, it's doing a really good job. In summation, buying a dishwasher these days almost makes sense to actually buy a new dishwasher, because you can buy one for as little as $260, $270 for a basic GE at places like American Freight. A buddy of mine, when he came by yesterday to drop off a special something for me on my birthday, and to drop off a couple of supplies, I asked him about what way did he get, and he had done some research and found Bosch to be a good option for dishwasher replacement. He wanted a Kenmore, which is what he had. However, the Kenmore was, because of Sears and what have you, we don't know what the future of Kenmore is going to be. And reality is, Kenmore is also part of Whirlpool, so he was basically a sibling to what I've got right here. Anyway, he went with Bosch, and he went with the 300 series dishwasher, which I'm going to guess he paid somewhere between $800 and $900 for it. Unless he found a really good deal somewhere, which, according to Lowe's, you can get the 300 series for $819. And at American Freight, I can pick up a Bosch 800 series for $539. And there was a 100/Asconia series dishwasher, also from Bosch, at ABT Electronics and Appliances, which is about basically 480 bucks. So if you shop around, you can get a decent dishwasher, brand new. Some of them, like American Freight, you maybe picking up a refurbished one for very little meaning well under $800 to $1,000, which is what you would normally pay for a KitchenAid or some of the others. However, American Freight had a KitchenAid model for 528 bucks, basically 530. So for that kind of price, you can get a new dishwasher for not too horribly expensive if you do your shopping around. And like I said, you can get a good Bosch, and Bosch is now considered one of the higher rated brands out there, as well as KitchenAid. But then Bosch has forced KitchenAid to make some upgrades by quieting down their dishwashers for starters. So anyhow, this has been a good dishwasher so far. Everything's coming out of it very, very clean and squeaky, which is in fact that I can use the jet dry dispenser that's in here now. But it's a good way to go, and I'm glad I bought the dishwasher, even though I could have bought a little less for a refurbished GE from American Freight. But it is what it is, and anyhow, like I said, it is what it is, and was a good deal, and it's very basic, but it gets the job done. My dishes come out clean, and I can have the kitchen picked up and the dishwasher running in less than 30 minutes most days. So if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button, and if you want to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified. It'll do this channel a world of good, and I'll see you on the next one.